Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. Welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina Pike. I'm so very happy that you're here with me today. Today, I'm going to be talking about a project that I've been working on since January of this year. This has been a year-long mystery knit-along project where every month I get a new clue, a new set of clues, and I knit it up, and then I've been sharing this with you. There are several videos for this project. I believe I have a playlist for these. I'll try to link it either down below or in the show notes or up above. Or both. And if you want to go watch some of those videos, in each one of those videos I explain the clue, and each clue is based on a pattern from one of these two books. These two books are the Japanese Knitting Stitch Bibles by Hitomi Shida. And in these books are all kinds of beautiful stitch patterns that have been used for inspiration for this project. Yes, I'm talking about the Japanese Sampler Scarf project, and this pattern was written by Tony L. Lorenz. All of the information on how to obtain the pattern, my project page and Ravelry is in the show notes below if you're interested in looking at that. For this project, we'll just start kind of at the beginning. I am going to give you a little bit of a longer kind of a wrap up for this one, since this is the last clue and wrap up for this project. For this project, I used this yarn. This is Manos de Uruguay Fino yarn, and it is the colorway. This yarn, first of all, is a 70% merino wool, 30% silk. It is amazingly soft, and the thing I love about this yarn is it has amazing stitch definition. When I kind of started thinking about Japanese lace, I remembered seeing some other projects, because this is my first time to ever knit it. It has a lot of cables, has a lot of twists and turns, so I wanted to use a yarn that had really good stitch definition, and I knew from a previous project that this one did. This is the color filigree, 40, let's see if I can read it myself, 430 filigree. So if you're interested, it's a beautiful golden color. I have enjoyed knitting with this, even though yellow is usually not something I gravitate towards, but I have enjoyed knitting with it, and I'm glad I used that yarn for this project. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you November and December's clues. I thought there would be a November clue and then a December clue, but she gave us November and December at the same time, so I'm just going to show you both, wrap it up, and then I'll show you a clip of the project all pinned out so you can see each clue again and see what the finished project looks like. I will hold it up, but it is probably easier to see with it pinned out. Now let me make sure I get the right end here. I think I'm at the wrong end. Yep, okay, here we go. Now, I've been making pins for each one of these so that I can kind of keep myself straight. Alright, this from the white clip to the brown clip, that is November's pattern. You can see it's got a beautiful, kind of like a house or roof of sides with a little triangle roof over this beautiful open lace pattern. You can see how the cables appear, which from like a 3 cable to an open lace mesh pattern with another little open lace mesh thing there. And then these cables are the same. Then again, this again is book 260, 195, but this center pattern is based on book 260, pattern number 28. I will insert a still picture with the book pattern picture beside it so you can see from the inspiration drawn from these two patterns. That's November's clue. I like how she transitioned that with the crisscross from November to December. I really like that. It's really pretty. Alright, then for December, it starts with this brown clue to the white one. And this I absolutely adore. She took that open mesh lace, brought in more of the crisscross cables, which I just love. And then she made that open mesh lace center come down into 3 beautiful, look how she transitioned to that, into 3 beautiful cables, ball cables, with going back in again in the center and then coming back out again right before you get to the end. And then I love these, I adore these cable patterns on the sides as well. Here, these. Now, these on the very far sides are the ones that have been there for the whole pattern project. Now, this pattern was based on, this stitch pattern was based on book 250, pattern number 164. And I'll put a still picture so you can see that. And then the book pattern, book 261, 64. I'm sorry, book 250, 164 for the center part of this December pattern. And then the edge again is book 260, 195, talking about these 2 far edge patterns. Now, for this is the last, is this from the white to the end. That was just a wrap up, and that again was just based on book 260, pattern 195, with the same edging pattern. She just brought it all across to wrap it up, and then it was bound off with just a regular easy bind off, very loosely done, but just a simple, you know, knit, put past the first stitch over the second stitch, very simple bind off. And there are a couple of things I want to talk about besides the inspiration. Now, for November, there were no new cable patterns. Now, for December, so I'm not really going to show any stitches for that. The same old stuff I've shown you in previous videos, and you can go watch my previous videos and see the stitch patterns. I was thinking about doing 2 pages of stitch definitions, but I've shown you most everything. I think there were 3 new cable patterns for December that I haven't shown you. And I decided, instead of showing you those, I thought I would give you a couple of tips that I think will work for any project. Because the cables, you can read them if you buy this pattern. You can, they're pretty straightforward, simple cables. Like, I think there was a 4-stitch cable. Let's see if I can find it. 4-stitch cable where you would take 2 to the front, 2 or to the back, and then just knit the 4 stitches. And there was some other a little more complicated cables where you would take 3 stitches to the back and purl one group and knit another group. So, but creating all these beautiful cable patterns, don't really think I need to show you those 3 new patterns. So instead, what I want to talk about, there was a question I think last month from one of you guys talking about how do I keep this edge so straight. You can see both of the edges are pretty straight on this pattern, or they're very straight. And I'm going to show a clip on how I do it, but let me explain it. Basically, on this pattern, the first stitch on that you do on every row, even on the wrong side and the right side, you slip the stitch with the working yarn in front. Then you take the yarn to the back or the front and you do the next stitch. But every first stitch, even on the front side and wrong side, you slip it purlwise with the working yarn in front. And it creates this beautiful straight edge. And I've got a video clip that I'll show you right now. I want to do a short video. It was asked of me, one of my comments, how did I keep this edging so straight? And there is an easy tip that's going on here, because you can see it is very straight. The way that it happens is when you go to knit the first stitch of your row, you slip the first stitch. You can do this on any pattern. You slip the first stitch with the yarn in front purlwise. So you have to have the yarn in front. You stick your needle in purlwise and just slip the stitch, and then you go on, and if you have a knit stitch, you move your arm to the back for a knit stitch. If you have a purl stitch, you know, you do whatever the next stitch is. The stitch is knit when you come back on the wrong side, but every first stitch on the row is slipped, and see, it creates this beautiful edge here. It makes the stitches be neat on both sides. So I just want to point that out so that if you guys are doing a pattern and you need the edge to be straight and clean, that is a good tip to do. I think that's a really good thing you could do if you have a project you're working on and you need the edge to be straight. You can always just slip that first stitch with a working yarn in front. Now you'll knit it on the coming back across, but you just slip it when it's the first stitch of the right or wrong side rows. Now, the other tip I want to give that I think will apply to any project is this. This is what this pattern looks like. It is a charted pattern. I'm holding it back because this is a paid pattern. I don't want to give you the pattern away, but I don't know if you can see, there's a line here, there's a line here, and a line here. Now, this is a pretty big chart. This has 55 stitches across. So what I did to break it up was, because sometimes you can get lost in the stitches, especially if they're pretty complicated. This is pretty complicated. These are, you know, colored patterns and cables, and they're not easy patterns. So what I did was I kind of divided it up, and I drew a line. Like I did a line at stitch 8, I did a line at the center stitch, and then I did a line at 47. And every month, the first thing I did was I'd grab my colored pen and I would draw a line right there at that marker. And the reason why was because I used a stitch marker in my pattern to mark those places where I just drew a line. So it kind of gave me a point to work towards. And if I did not reach that point when I should on my chart, it made a red flag go off in my head that I must have done something wrong. So let me show you a clip. I'll show a little bit. It probably is better to see it than for me to sit here and talk about it. A little tip that I do on this project that's not recommended. The chart, I don't want to show it, but there are like 60 stitches across. So you have about, not quite 60, but almost, we'll just say rounding up, 60 stitches on your needle. And sometimes in your chart, if you have 60 stitches and it's very complicated, it can be hard to keep your place where you are on the chart. So, you know, I love to use stitch markers. I break my chart for this whole project all year long. I have broken my chart up into manageable pieces of stitches. Like this is the edge for this is the edge for this, and then like I broke up the middle with another stitch marker. So I have these 3 stitch markers I've been keeping in place for my pattern, and then I just draw a line on my chart to mark where the stitch markers are. Every month when I get a new chart, I just draw my lines, and that helps me keep my place so that I know these stitches are before that first line, then between the second and third and fourth. You know what I mean? It keeps me all lined up, and if I'm off, if something is not right, like if I have this many stitches, but on my chart I've already reached the mark, I've done something wrong or I've gotten off, and it just helps me not make as many mistakes. So that's another tip, is you can always use stitch markers to help you. You can use them to help you with counting. You can use them to help you break up your stitches. If you have a lot of stitches on your needle and you're finding yourself, you're getting lost in the pattern, they are your friends, and just use them to your advantage to help you keep your place and keep track of where you are. Now you can do that for any project that you have, where you can break it up into smaller sections and help keep yourself on track. Now we're to the point where I do want to show you the whole scarf. This is the whole scarf. You can see how it all turned out. I am going to show you this all pinned out and go into more detail about it, but you can see this scarf turned out to be 9 inches across this way, and the length of it is 97 inches long. And there it is. It's a beautiful lace scarf. All right, so I'm going to show you the clip for the scarf all pinned out, because I think, again, with the blocking mat behind it, you can see the pattern better and see what it looks like. We're Ready to wrap up the Japanese sampler scarf and the international lace scarf project. I'm going to just talk about the Japanese though in this video. It started at this end. This was January. Each one of these clues has its own video. So there's, I think I did 2 clues at once, so maybe there's 11 of these. If you want to go back and see where they are, what inspiration inspired them from the Japanese Sampler Stitch Bibles by Hitomi Shida. I go into more detail each month, but this one is the wrap up. So I'm going to show you the whole thing. This is January, February. Go back and watch those videos if you want to see more detail on the individual ones. I'm going to be talking about the end of it and the wrap up. This is March. On to April. Then May. Into June. In July. To August. September. Right there. Sorry, I'm going too far up. October. One of my favorites with the leafy vines. November. And then December. And then at the end it has this wrap up. And then the edge was just a stitch pattern to wrap it up at the end based on book 261.95. It brought more of this all the way through. Looks a little bit like a cat's paw as well, maybe. And then it was done with just a loose, simple, regular bind off. And that is the whole project. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos all throughout the year and letting me share this wonderful project with you all. Now I think now that you've seen what this project looks like, if you want to knit it, it is a wonderful pattern. I believe it's costs US $6. I will go double check that price, and if it's different than that, I will put the price over my face so that you guys can know how much it cost. However, I do think for the price that you paid for this pattern, you get a lot of information. This is the whole pattern. And I mean, each month you got a whole new thing, whole new chart. Again, this is a charted pattern, so it's not written out in text at all. It is a great way to learn charts. It is a little more complicated, but her motto is like my motto. If you take it one stitch at a time, you can get it done. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I thank you again so much. There's one more thing that I do need to mention for this video to wrap it up. Now, in the last video I did, which was the clues for September and October, I mentioned a giveaway at the end of the video. It was not widely publicized. It was this book. It was 1,000 Japanese Knitting and Crochet Stitches by Nihon Vogue. And I mentioned that to enter, you had to put a comment under the video, and the word that we were going to use was Nihon, the author's first name. Beautiful stitch patterns in this book, and I'm going to give this book away now, since this is the end of this project.
All right, let's pick a winner for this Japanese crochet and knitting book, um, project book, sampler book, stitches book. Here's the video. Let's copy the URL, paste it into the YouTube random comment picker. Okay. The word that I had you guys use was the author's first name, which was Nihon. So let's grab all the YouTube comments. There's 24. So good luck to everybody. Let's pick a winner. Katie Bear, 1966. Your scarf is another amazing project you are making. Gina, you are so talented. So many amazing stitches. Thank you for showing us how to read the charts. Nihon did an awesome job on that stitch and pattern book. Wow. Congratulations, Katia. So happy for you and so happy that you won.
Congratulations to the winner. If you're the winner, please please email me your shipping information at knitbymoonbeams@gmail.com, and I'll get this in the mail to you as soon as I can, as soon as I get that. So thank you. Congratulations. Thank you guys so much again for watching this project all year long, for encouraging me to continue on, and you know, so that I would have a finished Japanese scarf at the end. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all very, very soon.